Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of our sisterly advice on Talk to Me Sister. I hope you guys are tuning in all through the spring season, and I hope you guys are excited for season 2 of our pop cultural podcast, which is Talk to Me Sister as well. Make sure you guys are checking out the Instagram, the Facebook, and the LinkedIn page. They're all copies of opinion. They all link to Talk to Me Sister and my poetry content if you guys want to check that out as well, which is called Unspoken. What is it called? I think it's called Unspoken True Artists or something like that. Let me make sure that I'm doing it right. Let me make sure. It is called Spoken True Artists. So you guys can check that out if you haven't already. And if my link tree, if my link tree is in my bio, you guys can check out more of my other content like Invest in Girly as well. The podcast for Invest in Girly is gone, but I will be putting all of the podcast topics on YouTube really soon, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, you guys, we're gonna hop right in and give you some sisterly advice regarding to purity cultural problematics as a woman in today's man cultural society. And of course, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on PMSing as a young lady, as a woman, and my own personal experiences when I was a preteen as well. My periods didn't start getting better until I was about 19, 20 years old. So I was struggling all through middle school and high school. So I'm going to give you guys some tips, and I hope it's very inspiring and uplifting for you, and to know that you're not alone in this world due to the man cultural situations that's going on in today's society. And to me, by the way, it's been going on for like dozens of centuries, dozens and dozens of decades at a time. So let's just be real, nothing has changed. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, we're going to be talking about the purity cultural aspect that's been going around and hovering over women's head for many, many centuries, even down to the Renaissance era. And it's not fun. And for those who don't know the history, women have been pressured by family members to keep everything in the family by going to a rich family and, giving what the man wants, and you have to be pure, you have to be a virgin, otherwise you bring shame to the family and all those stuff. So if you guys want to check out the show called Reign, it's a really good show, and it pretty much sums up everything, okay, including House of Dragons and Game of Thrones. You want to check them out, of how women had to go through man's authority, with purity cultural, and you have to be sold at a very, very young age, which is like 14, maybe even less than that, in order to keep things maintained in the family and bring a good reputation and all that bullshit. So I myself have gone through purity cultural at a very, very young age. I've never really grew up in the church, but I was raised by my grandparents, so every now and then I would casually go to church and all these things. And every time we as women, as teenagers, for those who are millennials or young Gen Z's, we will all ask the question about sex, like how to find the right person and how to connect with the right soulmate or partner or future spouse and all these things, right, in a normal casual conversation without even thinking about the future right now. We're just thinking about the present, right? But then when you ask these type of questions, they consider it as a taboo, like you're going to hell if you even think about sex and all this other stuff, right? And it isn't just us African American women, or white women or whatever. It's like every cultural of, putting pressure and bringing shame and all this heavy weight and pressure on a woman to pursue a man. I mean, it's in the Mormon church, it's in the Christianity. I don't know about Catholic. I'm assuming it's Catholic too, especially if you're in a royal rich family. And it's just, and even like an Asian cultural and Indian cultural, Muslim cultural as well. It's like no matter where we go as women, whether we're in a cultural aspect or religion aspect or like in between, we can't escape. It's hard, but they never do it to the man. It's always the woman. It's never the man. And it's so disgusting and annoying. And then it's like, you're putting these peer pressuring toxicity mindsets on a woman. And then it's like when it's time for her to find a true mate, it's it's going to destroy her. It's like, are we doing intimacy for each other, or am I just doing it for the man? And because a religion has twisted God's gift of sex and intimacy. And remember in the beginning of time, before the man's curse, before the falling, not man, God gave man a beautiful gift to procreate and to multiply and to bear much fruit, right? But then when the serpent came around and how it got into Eve and Adam's head in their mindset and how they want to question God's, you know, obedience and all these other things that God knew. And then, of course, they started twisting God's words around. They started blaming each other. And then because of the falling, because of the curse, things haven't been the same. And as much we appreciate God, Jesus and everything to save us and give us salvation and save us from hell and all this other stuff, but we're still under the man's curse. We're still under the man's falling because of what our Adam and Eve has done. And also religion. So, for 10,000 years and counting, women have been going through so much through the ringer with purity cultural and being sold to the highest bidder for a king or some random dude just so the parents can be satisfied. Whether it's in the Mormon church, whether it's in the Catholic or the Christianity, Muslim, whatever it may be, we're constantly as women being sold and rearranged just for the sake of a reputation or keeping score. And it's exhausting for a woman because it's like eventually when she does find her spouse that she truly wants to be with and not what the aunties think, what the grandparents think, or her own true parents think, by the time she finds her true spouse, she doesn't want him. It's like beauty of sex and beauty of intimacy has been destroyed because of what man has done with religion, twisting God's words around, manipulating a woman's mind, thinking like it's only for the man, it's never for the woman, which is totally false. And you wonder why a lot of us women don't want to get married or don't want to have children, because we feel like the minute we give our hearts to somebody, they're going to abuse it, they're going to tamper it, they're going to shred it, they're going to peer pressure me, the family's counting on me and all the other crap. And it's disgusting. And nobody believes in boundaries anymore when you're dealing with a cultural family. And it's ridiculous. It's really hard. And then it's like, it ties down to the woman for her worthy of sexuality. Many women have been taught that their values depend on remaining pure. As you remember, back in the Renaissance era, the medieval days, a woman had to be pure. If she's not pure and she's not a virgin, and they do this whole ceremony, this bedroom ceremony, where, livelihood depends on it. You know what I mean? And the reputation and the honor of the family and all the other crap. If she doesn't bleed, then she's a whore. She's expired. She's tossed to the side. And it's ridiculous. And me being raised by my grandparents and somewhat in the church, not fully, but somewhat, I would ask these types of questions about sex. And I had classes on it in school, but it wasn't really enough. And I thought, well, maybe I can go to my cousins, or maybe I can go to my sister, maybe I can go to this, maybe I can go to that. And even if you try to go to the church, they all treat it taboo. They all treat it like you're going to hell. That's a sin. You're going to bring shame and all this other crap, right? And we've seen it time and time again where a woman would fall in love with a guy. She'd think it's cute. He'd think they're hot and ever. And then the minute she gets pregnant, she brings shame to the family. They tuck her away. They make her disappear for about 9 months, 6 months at a time. And then everybody is like, you got to go to another church because people are going to know what you did. You got to go to another town, another state, another country, because, people are going to look at us and talk shit about us and gossip about us because of what you did. And it's really sad. So when I was coming up, in school and everything, I would tell people that, hey, I am waiting for marriage. I'm not perfect. I've done some shit I'm not proud of. In the moment, I'm like, yeah, this is fun. But then later in life, it's like, I should know what I did. But there were times where I would present myself being like, I am a virgin. And then of course some girls would be like, you need to get rid of that shit. That's garbage. You need to get rid of that shit right now. It's time, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, excuse you. This is my body. This is my temple. I'm not just gonna give my purity or my treasure, my jewels to just any man who's going to abuse it. And there were times where I was in an abusive relationship and he tried to pressure me. He tried to put himself on me, and I had to forcefully get him off. And I had to make him shut the fuck up because that's what he cared about. And then I just thank the Lord that my Heavenly Father put so many distractions in my life, because this dude decided to spread rumors that he took my virginity. He did this, he did that. And he would go to my ex. I'm like, who does that? Who in their right mind would go to a girl, an ex-girlfriend, not ex-girlfriend, but I'm an ex-girlfriend. But the point is, who would go to her ex-boyfriend and tell them that I took her shit, man, like I'm better than you, blah, blah, blah. And like, thank the Lord that I had good friends that literally stood up for me and was like, no, you didn't. You didn't do shit. Because I know how our girl is. I know how our homegirl is. She's not gonna give her shit to just any person. You need to make her feel comfortable. You need to make her feel safe, make her feel worthy and at peace. And men seem to forget God's word and what he says about marriage and about sex, and how man, since the falling, since the curse, has twisted God's words around. And it's just like, okay, so who are we supposed to listen to? Should we listen to God? Should we listen to the pastor? No, you shouldn't listen to the pastor. You listen to God. And then it creates a double standard. In many contexts, men are given more freedom while women are being judged harshly. And then it's like there's no quality, there's inequality. And it's normalized and unfair in expectations in relationships and communities. It promotes shame over education. And then it's like, we barely learned about sex when I was in school, when I was in middle school and high school. Some of my guy friends before we started dating knew more about everything in a book than me. And I'm like, how did you know how to do X, Y, and Z? I didn't learn that. Well, tell me more. So whenever I was curious about something, I will always go to them. I think later, once I got out of high school, I started going to my cousin and being like, okay, what's this? What's that? What's that? You know? I never really went to my siblings. I thought that was kind of weird because I was still like a very young elementary kid. So I don't know. I just couldn't do it. And then when I would tell my mother about it before she passed away, she would just be like, you're going to hell, don't you do it, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. We were all taught that as millennials, if we ever have sex, we're going to go to hell, you know. But it can also harm mental and sexual health. And then it's like the guilt, the fear, the anxiety, you know, the struggles with marriage, and where sex is expected and it feels wrong. It feels like I can't feel comfortable. I don't feel at peace because of all the things that I've gone through. And then it's like the silence, important about the conversations. You think about the abuse, you think about, a person's boundaries and getting ignored because it's focusing on purity cultural rather than feeling safe and respected. And, for 10,000 years, women have been shamed and felt guilty about purity cultural. And to me, it's too much of a high expectations. It's too much of a peer pressuring moment. No matter if you go to the church, your family, your friends and family, it doesn't matter who you go to. It's like nobody gives you the right answers about purity cultural. No one gives you the right answers about, okay, if you decide to do this, this is what you got to do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have any high expectations. And that's what's the problem with religion these days. And it's been this way for a really long time, a lot of centuries, a lot of decades, and how they would twist God's words around and his beauty for the gift that he has given man to reprocreate. And because of the falling and the curse, we as women have to suffer because of what man did. And yes, we already know the story of Jesus' salvation and giving us grace and mercy and saving us from hell and all these things, right? And that's beautiful. Because without that, we would be in hell right now. Let's be real. But at the same time, the damage is done, right? But he does give us a choice and a decision to follow Christ, to follow the shepherd and not the wolves. Majority of my life as a curiosity person, as a virgin till this day, I'm 32, of years of my life, I was part of the wolves, being a sheep. But God was like, look, I'm here. I'm not gonna leave you, I'm not gonna forsake you. But you made that choice. You're making that decision. I'm still here. I'm still gonna be with you, but you're going to go through some shit in order to have a wake up call and be like, you know what, Lord, I surrender to you. I am sorry for following the wolves. I should have been following you. Please forgive me. And he will forgive you. And you can overcome this and put people in their place. Know your worth. You know what I mean? Like, know your worth. Know who you are. And not give it to these filthy ass men who don't understand safety and feeling protected and being at peace and being in a great environment. I'm still a virgin. And a lot of people get mad at me for that. And I'm like, I really don't fucking care if you get mad. This is my temple. This is my jewel. You feel me? And you really need to like know who you are in this world. You cannot let the world tell you who you are. And it's really sad. You got to separate moralities from shame. And you need to know your worth. You need to know your value. You need to learn about your body and your consent. You need to set boundaries. You need to accurate education, communication, health, replaces with fear with confidence. Find a support community, a faith base that has like a group that you can vent to and how to promote healthier, more respectful views of sexuality and gender. Being around people who don't shame you and make a huge difference. Consider therapy, counseling, refine your values in your own terms and decide what intimacy and respect relationships mean for you, whether that aligns with your religion, involves from it, or differs from it. So I really hope these tips that I just mentioned was really useful and put together. Shit, I wish I had these tips when I was growing up, but my cousin did show me some stuff. She did put some education into it. And like I said, I did have certain guy friends that were really sweet and very helpful and to help me understand, different pills and different options to prevent and all these things. In case you guys don't know, I will definitely do a video about this next Friday, but I am getting both my tubes removed because I don't want to be a single mom in a marriage at all. And I don't want to sacrifice my body. And I don't see myself as a mom. I just don't. And people will get mad at that. People will be like, no, don't do it. I can't rely on a pill, to help me and guide me along the way as I get old. I can't rely on that shit. I just can't. And it's not worth it to me. It's just not. And it kind of puts a toll on you. And it really messes with your mental health and your anxiety. And it's like, I'm focused. I'm going to be listening to my intuition. I'm going to be listening to God. And I've seen the signs that he has given me. He got me. He's protecting me. And I'm not going to listen to people who don't understand or don't want to understand. You feel me? I respect people's worries and concerns. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to get pregnant. I can't do it. And it's a very small percentage that you're going to find a good partner who's willing to go to bats for you, who's willing to, go to the front line with you during the battle of raising children in this tough economy, the shitty economy. Let's be real. So men, when we were younger, I'm not a man, but you know what I mean? When we as teenagers, when we were younger, we're all in our 30s now, but when we're younger, it was so hard and difficult to be respected without someone harassing us or essaying us or shing us as women. And men don't seem to get the logic because they're slow. Let's be real, women or girls develop more faster than men. Let's be real for a second if we want to be all scientific. which it is proven. Let's be real, a woman is a little bit more faster than men. But the point is, men over here assuming, making assumptions that, oh, I'm going to take your shit. I'm like, did you put any effort into making me feel comfortable, to make me feel worthy, give me a safe space? No, you just assume that you were going to take shit from me just to make somebody jealous. And like I said, us ladies, we all been in abusive toxicity relationships where people think they can just take whatever they want, all because of an arranged marriage, because of our grandparents or our parents or religion. And if we do something, instead of guiding us to get through it, they want to shame us, they want to put us down, they want to hide it and gossip about us. And then we have to go to another church or another state or another planet for that matter. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you wonder why us women are scared of sex. And you wonder why us women may or may not want to get married because of dumb dickheads like man who don't appreciate her worthy, her treasure. And it aggravates me. There are some dumb things I've done in the past that I am not proud of. In the moment you're like, yeah, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, this is great. But then when you look back on it, it's like, damn, why did I do that? Why did I listen to the wolves instead of listening to my Heavenly Father? And we are human. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how old we are, doesn't matter how young we are human. We are millennials, we are young Gen Zs who are trying to figure shit out and finding out more about life. And sometimes these boomers and these early Gen X are so busy putting us down, whether it's our periods, which I'm going to get into in a minute, which is our periods, yelling at us and attacking us for having a period, which that's what my mom did to me. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me for, lady? I'm 12 years old. I don't know how this works. Only been on this earth for 12-ish years of my life back in the day. And it took me so long to figure out my body of what makes me feel comfortable and what doesn't. And even though I had my sister when I was in elementary school, she went on and did her own thing. So I didn't really have another big sister to really teach me about my PMSing and my sexuality and purity culture and how to overcome it and how to, isolate yourself from people who are going to bring negativity into the world, into your life, which you don't want. So when it comes down to PMSing, I had to learn. I had to learn. And I had my grandmother at some point, she would give me granny panties. That's a game changer. I used to do pomegranate juice. I still do. And, depending, it's hard when you're in high school because you're trying to beat traffic, you're trying to, beat the crowd, and then you start rushing to the point where you start having accidents. And that happened to me when I was 12 years old. When in my first period, I had accidents, multiples and multiples of times when I was at middle school and high school. And it took me until like 19, 20 years old to really get into a rhythm. And at that time I was going to college, but it took me some time. It took me a lot of years to really get into a rhythm of my body and what products should I use and what tools that will help me and guide me. And I'm going to share them with you guys. First and foremost, don't wear your cute shit. Don't wear colors. Don't wear any of that. Always wear some black. I'm telling you, black is your best friend. Let me tell you, black and gray is your best friend when it comes to granny panties, when it comes to your clothes in general. Your cute panties will be just fine. Okay, your cute underwear will be just fine. It ain't going nowhere. You'll be okay. I don't use a tampon. You can probably go on YouTube for that. I always use a pad. I think one time my best friend, my old best friend at the time, she used to use a tampon and she couldn't find it, and it freaked me the fuck out. I kid you not, it freaked me the fuck out to the point where, you know what, I don't want to use a tampon. I'm good. She eventually found it, but still, like, I'm good. And, I've always used pads, but sometimes I would use the wrong pad. And, my aunts did their best, and so did my grandmother. My grandmother, before she passed away a few years later when I was like 21, she did her best to help me with maintaining my cycle. And my aunt would tell me to just write it down every time it comes on, every time it goes off. I still do this to this day. So from middle school to high school, and even just like early college before I dropped out, I've been tracking my cycle with journals, and I tried to use apps at one point, but that didn't go well. I feel like apps aren't really fully accurate versus just writing it down. So that's what I would do. You can also use the Google Calendar if you want. That's totally fine if you don't want to write anything down. I know we're in a day and age of the digital world, but to me, I like to write stuff down. So first and foremost, track your period, write it on a journal, write it in your notes, whatever you need to do. Write the date, the time, not the time, but the date and the year of, date and the time of the year. That's what I do. So for example, right now it's 4/24, right? So I will put 4/24 and I will put period on. Obviously I put the year, and then you keep going. And then say it goes off, depending on your cycle, say it goes off May 2nd. Okay, there you go. That's what I do. I'm getting my next cycle in early May. So I remember back in the day, my cycle used to come on like the beginning of the month or the middle of the month or the end of the month. Now it comes on the beginning of the month, which is great because I have surgery next week. So it just had it not that long ago. So I'm really happy it came on early in the month and not the end of the month, because I'd be freaking out if it came on the end of the month for surgery. I do not want that. So first and foremost, like I said, always write shit down when it comes to your cycle. Track your cycle every single month throughout the year. You can use a marker, like a paint marker. That's what I use. I use a paint marker for a period. And then I use a black pen as if like it went off. That's what I do. And I keep doing that. And then whenever you go to the doctor, like an OBGYN, you have to make sure you have an idea. Even if you don't, always write it down no matter what. Always have an idea of when your cycle came on, when was the last cycle, because they're always going to ask you this. Always have an idea, at least a close to an accurate. You don't know the exact date, especially if you miss, like, oh shit, I forgot to bring my journal, whatever. That's what I did. I forgot to bring like my journal. And I was like, damn, what was my last period? But I would say like, okay, I don't know the exact date, but I know it was like the early part of the month or the end of the month or the middle of the month. Even if you don't know the exact date or you forgot, before you leave, this is what I do. You don't have to bring a whole journal, but if you want to, in case you get asked, when was your last period, blah, 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 always put it on your phone if you can, or write it down on a piece of paper and bring it with you, or at least give them an idea of when was your last cycle. Was it the early part of the month, like the first 10 days, or was it the end of the month, or like the middle of the month, before the end of the month? Give them something so they know, okay, got you. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be exact date in case you don't remember, because I have a bad memory sometimes. So it's good to just write it down in your phone or on a piece of paper to bring it with you to OBGYN, or you can just give them an idea of when it started, when it ended, whether it's the end of the month, beginning of the month, or the middle of the month. That's what I do. In case I had to do that last time. So yeah, I did that early this month and telling them my last cycle was in March, but because it's the early part of April, which was like April 1st, when I had to go to OBGYN for my last prep for surgery, I was like, well, I gotten it done like the early part of March. I just had it. And now I'm starting a new one. So there you go. And they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And they're cool with it. And the same goes with my first time getting an OBGYN for the first time. I think I told you guys, but it was painful. Let me tell you, it was painful. But we got it done. This was my first time. I was supposed to get it done at 21, but it didn't work out. So they will ask me the same question again. When was your cycle? I'm like, damn, I don't remember. But I do know it was early, November, but I don't know the exact date. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. So there you go. So hopefully that answers, not answer, but I hope that makes sense. So always write down your cycle in a journal, put it on your phone, do what you got to do before you go to the doctor or OBGYN, so you know the exact, whatever. Another thing is, like I said, do not wear your cute underwear. Do not wear your cute underwear. I'm telling you, do not wear your cute underwear when you're on your cycle. Okay, depending how many days of the week you have your cycle, do not wear your cute underwear. Always wear black, always wear granny panties, wear some black and grays. They are your best friend. I'm telling you, it works. Wear some good granny panties. Do not wear anything loose. When it comes to a granny panty, make sure you have one that sucks you in and keeps the pad in place. I'm pretty sure you can find some on Amazon, or I would say the mall, but nobody goes to the mall anymore. But you can probably find some on Amazon. I think my granny panties came from like the mall or like Marshalls. So you can totally check that out and see what works for you. So granny panties, writing everything down. And what's another one? Drink some pomegranate juice, some peppermint tea. Okay, especially have really bad cramps. I used to have really bad cramps when I was like in my 20s and my teens, but not anymore. So I don't have any cramps anymore. But I like to drink pomegranate juice, and I also get PMS headaches, so I still do the peppermint just in case. I used to take over-the-counter medicine like Advil, but I stopped taking it. So what I do is besides the pomegranate juice and the peppermint tea, I would do what I would do. I used to do like essential oils, like I would breathe in the essential oils and then just like let that go. But there was like some techniques what you can do with your hands, where you can like calm down. I think it's like your nerves that's causing the brain to have a headache or something like that. You know, quote me on that. But you can like press your palm or something, like just some part of your finger, and then you can like massage. Yeah, that's like you can massage like your head and just like the pinpoints of it. It's really good. So I want to be correct on this one because I'm a cappy. So I want to make sure there are ways you can help with the headache. Ways you can help. Can help. Hold on one. Okay. Hold on one second. I don't know who that was. I don't know who that was. So I'm gonna let that go. Okay, sorry you guys. I'm trying to find some really good tips for you when it comes to, I don't know who that is. When it comes to a headache. So give me one second. Headache ways to relieve pressure point. Okay, so the best way to release like headaches and stuff. Okay, yes, I was right. Okay, so what you do is for a quick headache relief, you can stimulate the several key pressure points on your head. I was right, and hands and neck, and then apply a firm, steady pressure or massage the area in small circles for 30 to 60 seconds. So there you go. I just wanted to be sure. I wanted to make sure I was right before I start, you know, I don't want to give you like false anything. I just want to make sure that I was giving you guys the right information. I don't want you guys to be like, that's not right. I'll make sure I do it right for you guys. Just want to make sure. But anyway, I hope that was very useful. So you can do some pressure points, drink plenty of water, like pomegranate juice, what you call it, peppermint tea. Do some pressure points on your hands, to help relieve any like headaches or anything like that. Like I said, I used to take Advil, but I stopped doing that. So I just focus on um taking a nap, to be honest, like taking a nap and doing some Dr. Teal that also helps as well. And that's Lupicus. You do like a scrub, or you can do like the body wash that also helps with like cramps. And even when it comes down to like headache, you can do some Lupicus. I know people would tie lupicus like a lipicus. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. I'm sorry. I cannot speak. So people usually tie the plant onto like their shower and they just like let it, breathe in. So you can do that. You can do like a breathe in steaming shower. Do Dr. Teal, some peppermint tea. You can do some pomegranate juice. You can do some pressure points. Make sure you guys do that. Make sure you write down everything in your journal. Make sure you do that to keep track of your periods. Whenever your OBGYN or your physical doctor ask you like when was your last cycle, you write it down, you put it in your phone, you give them an idea in case you forget, because we all have PMS brains, so don't hurt yourself with like, oh man, I don't know, like don't you'll be okay. Just give them an idea. Okay, just give them an idea. And whether it's the beginning of the month or the end of the month or the middle of the month, just do your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. We all have PMS brains. It's okay. Don't be down on yourself, hurt yourself. So yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. Also, doing some exercise is really good too. I think banana helps as well. So that also, I think banana helps with cramps, I believe. So make sure you stay away from dairy. If you can drink non-dairy, that's what I do. That's good. Stay away from beef, especially especially, not especially if it makes your cycle go longer. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I hope these tips were really useful. You can also check out my Lincoln page of Copies of Opinion. I definitely, maybe, no, is that page? No, it's my main page, it's my LinkedIn. It's in my link tree. You guys can check out my article that I done 6 years ago. I have more in-depth PMS tips that can really help you with what you're, with whatever you're going through, whatever age you are. I know I'm like kind of jelly at older people who don't get periods anymore. I'm like, that's I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Now, according to a lot of people who do get surgery, whether it's removing of the tubes or tying or burning, I think a couple years into your age, like for my aunt, for example, she gotten her tubes burned and cut when she was 30, and then she stopped having a period at 35, without even taking any birth control or anything like that. Because to me, birth control doesn't really help. I mean, it helped for some people, like if you don't want to cycle at all, but for me personally, I can't do birth control. I have heard horror stories of people going on birth control, whether it's for like PMSing or acne or anything like that, or even just to prevent pregnancy. I just, nope. I thought about it when I was younger. I was like, absolutely not, absolutely not. So I hope these tips were very useful. I hope you guys enjoyed my topic and my take on purity cultural and just knowing your worth and who you are as a woman. We as women have gone through the ringer, whether it's our periods, whether it's purity cultural, the list goes on. And it's ridiculous how we as not man, we as human beings, and humanum and women have gone through so much being in a man's world because of what religion has done, because of the man's falling and the curse and everything. So I really hope these tips were really useful and put together for PMSing. And I really hope you guys know your worth and who you are when it comes to purity cultural and just isolating yourself from that crap and focusing on what God says, not so much what man says or the pastor says or the church says. Like, fuck all that shit. Just focus on what God says about sex and intimacy and knowing your worth and your body's a temple and things like that. We as humans have fallen, and just know that God will forgive you no matter what you go. Like he knows how we are. He knows how we are. Okay, none of this shit is new to him. He knows how we are, and he knows our heart, right? He knows that we are his sheeps, and he is our shepherd when it comes to dealing with the wolves of the world. So he knows us. He knows us. So make sure you guys look out for some Bible scriptures and some community posts as well. I love you guys. I will see you guys next Friday. Next Friday, I'm going to be doing the post-surgery, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I love you guys. I will talk with you guys next Friday for the post-surgery. I'm so excited. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.